Be Hero presents Sheroes.
Hello, Alicia here,
And Amy.
and we are asking the so-called heroes to step aside for a moment so that we can give the Sheroes their turn in the spotlight.
Yes, you heard right. Welcome to Sheroes, a podcast by Be Hero Media.
So just sit back because it's time for the real game changers to show you how it's done.
Now, I know that Mother's Day was on Sunday, which was 4 days ago, but we still wanted to take a quick minute to celebrate. And we wanted to celebrate by telling you all about a mother-daughter duo that's climbing Mount Everest right now. Their names are Jessie Woodell and Valerie Woodell. They're hoping to be the first mother-daughter duo to climb to the top.
That is pretty cool, and we'll have to provide an update after they've finished.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that many of you have heard about the tragedy of Selena Quintanilla. Today we want to celebrate her life and especially her Sheroic qualities. We will be using Selena the series as our main source. Both her father and sister were involved in its production, but I can't say to what extent they were involved. We will also reference a few other books that we also reviewed for parts of this episode at the end. So, Amy, where did you first hear about her?
So I first heard about her in either 7th or 10th grade Spanish class. We watched the Selena movie and we listened to a few of her songs and translated them into English.
So, could you translate them now if you listened?
Yeah, I probably could if I listened really hard, but usually I don't really try to translate them when I'm listening. What about you? Where did you first hear about her?
I probably first heard about her from you. I didn't really know who she was, though. It was more just that I had heard the name. I think that I heard about her again in college on my dance team. It was all very vague, something about a singer who died. I didn't really know much about her. Okay, so who is she?
So Selena is a beloved star that made a huge impact in many people's lives, and as such, many people have expert knowledge about her. So if you're one of those experts, stay tuned for later when we talk about why she is a Shero and why we like her, and be sure to share in the comments the Sheroic attributes that you loved about her.
If you are an expert and would like to tell everyone more about her, we would love to have you on our show. You are welcome to reach out. You probably know more than we do.
Now, if you aren't an expert and you want to know a little bit more about her, we wanted to share just a brief summary of who she was before we go into her Sheroic attributes and what we liked about her.
So Selena is a Tejano pop star. I can't recall if all of her grandparents are from Mexico or just a couple of them, but she has Latin roots. Her grandparents moved to Texas, and I believe that her father was born and raised in Texas, but he was certainly raised there. He got into music as a child and discovered that he had a passion for it. When his children were young, he discovered that Selena had a good voice, so he used his passion into helping his children create a band.
Yeah, so I believe they started singing covers when she was about 8. Initially, they sang pop songs in English because that's what they enjoyed singing, but they soon switched to Spanish, and throughout the years they progressed and started writing their own music. On the Netflix show, Selena the series, her mother recommends that they sing in Spanish just because it's more beautiful.
This is when they began learning Spanish. As they progress and start writing their own music, they hired Peter Astudio, hopefully I said that right, as a backup singer and to help with the songwriting. During these early stages of the band, they would drive an old beat-up bus and would basically sing for food, although it was a little bit more involved than that, but that's pretty much what happened.
In their band, she was the lead singer, and she also designed most, if not all, of their costumes. She researched her own dance moves, and she loved learning and singing in Spanish. But because she was American, she also wanted the chance to sing in English. Because she was so popular with her Spanish music, she was pushed to keep her professional artistry in Spanish until it was believed that she was ready for the English market.
She was ambitious with many things that she wanted to do, including a clothing line, a boutique, a perfume line, and many other things.
Yeah, she actually collaborated with a clothing designer to create her own line and participated in a fashion show wearing their shared design.
She believed in education and encouraged young kids to complete their education. While in the process of producing her English album, she became aware of some things that her fan club manager, Yolanda Saldivar, was doing, and after firing her, was lured to a hotel to get bank statements and was shot and killed.
So let's move on from this tragic part of the story and actually let's talk about where she was from, and then later on let's talk about why she was a Shero.
Okay, so she is primarily from Corpus Christi in Texas. She also lived in several other towns in Texas that I don't remember the name of. Okay, Amy, so do you want to start us off by saying some of the reasons you believe that she's a Shero?
Absolutely. One of the things I wanted to share is when she was growing up and times were hard, she and her family ended up having to move in with extended family because they could no longer to afford to live in their home. But she and her family gave everything they had into singing and performing, and it eventually paid off big for them. And I think this is an example that we can look to show that it doesn't really matter where you start out. As long as you work really hard, you can achieve your dreams and be successful, but hard work is essential. One other thing I wanted to mention in addition to the hard work is that it's also essential to have a good support group. Because she and all of the band worked hard and supported each other, that was another key part of them being successful.
Which also helped start solo careers for several of the band members.
So Alicia, what was one of the examples you had for why she was Sheroic?
One of the things that really struck me is just how kind she was. I want to briefly highlight her kindness. When they were at Capital EMI, one of the girls mentioned that she loved Selena's outfit, and Selena immediately offered to make one for her. I love that. Like, just that kindness and that kind of that spontaneity that they're like, oh, I love this. And she's like, yeah, I'll make it for you. Like, that's great.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And we're actually going to talk a little bit about her, really like her kindness and her loving a little bit later, but I know you had another example you wanted to share.
Yeah, so I was also impressed when she thanked Laura Canales, and I apologize if I said her name wrong, for going first and for paving the way for future female artists. Selena also paved the way. She was the first female Tejano artist to win a Grammy.
And she also helped many Latin Americans to know that it was okay for them to be who they are. It's okay for them to embrace their Spanish heritage or their Hispanic heritage. And it's okay for them to speak Spanish and speak English because they're both.
Along with what you were saying, she didn't grow up fluent in Spanish, but because of the respect that she had for her fans, she worked hard and learned Spanish so that they would know that they mattered to her. It was joked that in one of her first interviews, the only word she knew in Spanish was dinero. This, of course, doesn't include what she's saying, but she may not have initially understood what the songs were about.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty funny story, and I also think it just kind of shows, for the people who knew her then, they really got to see her grow up and learn Spanish in a way, so that's pretty cool. So Alicia, let's move on, and let's talk about some of the examples of why we like, or what do we like about her, actually.
Yeah, okay, so one of the things that I like about Selena is after she married Chris, she was advised not to tell her fans because they might stop listening to her music. It was thought that her fans wanted to fantasize about being her boyfriend or husband. She did listen to their advice at first, but she quickly became uncomfortable with the situation. She did not want to hide her love for her husband, and she wanted to acknowledge him. When she told her fans about her husband, they booed. She lovingly rebuked them and told them her husband took good care of her and they should take care of their own wives and girlfriends, which got them laughing. She then started up a new song, getting her fans dancing again. She handled that situation like a champ.
Yeah, she did. Another thing that's pretty cool about her is she really loved her fans, and it's one of the reasons why she started her boutique and clothing line. Although she did have some expensive items, she also wanted to keep many of the things affordable for her fans so anyone could feel beautiful.
I have another funny story. So during a systems check, she invented a song about a fish. It was a laugh. Afterwards, she told her brother she wanted to help him write the next song. She suggested the song from the systems check. He questioned why she wanted to write a song about a fish. She assured him that it would not be about a fish. From this, she wrote her song, Bitty Bitty Bum Bum, the sound your heart makes when you see your love? I don't remember exactly what it was. But I just love this story because sometimes you can come up with truly great things on the fly. And while they didn't use the fish lyrics, they did use the tune of the song.
Too bad. I wonder if they have a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a vault with the fish version.
What is it? Release the fish track.
Yeah. If this came out today, you know that We, the fans, would demand it. Okay, so I think for me personally, what I liked best is that she was a very genuine person, both on the Netflix show and other articles that you can find on Google. That's kind of one of the key things they point out. She treated everyone like they had value, and I think this is one of the reasons why people love her so much. There's even a story in the book that Chris Perez wrote, To Selena with Love, where he shares that Selena had a special place in her heart for fans who faced more obstacles than most. And I want to share this quote directly from the book. "Selena," Abraham might call, coming backstage, "there's a little girl out here in a wheelchair who really wants to meet you." Then Selena would drop everything to go meet those fans and have her picture taken with them, hugging them and giving them her full wattage smile. So that's the end of the quote, and I just think it's the perfect example of her really treating people like they have value and showing us how we ought to treat people today. So Alicia, tell me, where in the media can you find out more about her?
So if you want more Selena in your life, the best place to start would be to listen to her music that she sang and sometimes helped co-write.
If you want more of an in-depth version of her life, you can watch the Netflix show that was created. As mentioned before, both her sister and father helped in the production of it.
There's also the Selena movie that came out in 1997, which is the one that you watched in Spanish class.
And fun fact about the Netflix show and the movie is that when Selena's performing in front of an audience, they use Selena's vocals, not the actresses.
Okay, so I listened to the audiobook called Selena Como la Flor by Joe Nick Pataski.
So why didn't you sing it? Como la flor.
Good job.
Forgive my voice, by the way. It cracked a little. I reviewed different parts of Selena's Secret, the revealing story behind her tragic death by Maria Celeste Araras, and also the book To Selena with Love by Chris Perez.
Thanks for listening. If you liked our podcast, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
And to women the world over,
Be brave.